The second Conte government takes office supported by a majority agreement between Five Star Movement and the Democratic Party. Italy's new cabinet is welcomed by financial markets. The European attitude pushes down the BTP bond spread. Confindustria warns the economy is stagnant, investments are falling. Meanwhile, Moody's postpones the judgment on Italy and confirms the Baa3 rating with a stable outlook. The Italian government presents a €29 billion budget plan for 2020. VAT will not increase, but the country will use €14 billion of flexibility granted in the EU budget rules, with a 2.2% deficit to GDP ratio. The main measures include €7 billion gained by a stronger fight on tax evasion, reduction of wage taxes, and investments in innovation and green economy. GDP growth is expected to be 0.6% in 2020.
Abbiamo progettato e progettiamo con questa manovra economica e con tutti i documenti normativi collegati la modernizzazione del Paese.
ECB cuts interest rate on the deposit facility to minus 0.5%. The Governing Council announces a new net asset purchase at a monthly pace of €20 billion from 1st November. A change in the modalities of the new TLTRO to preserve favorable bank lending conditions, a two-tier system to preserve part of banks' holdings of excess liquidity from the negative deposit facility rate. The 10-year BTP hits historical lows. At the EU Parliament, Mario Draghi warns Eurozone economic rebound is not in sight. His successor, Christine Lagarde, warns Europe needs more accommodating monetary policies. In the U.S., the Fed cuts interest rates by a quarter point to 1.75 to 2%. Powell warns the economy is good, but uncertainties are increasing. A non-unanimous decision by the FOMC that irritates Trump, who tweets, Jay Powell has failed again.
Monetary policy has done its job, will continue doing its job, but if the fiscal policy is active, monetary policy will act faster and with less side effects.
U.S.-China high-level trade talks will resume during the second week of October. U.S. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin and Chinese Deputy Prime Minister Liu He will meet in Washington to find an agreement and reduce the tensions that threaten the global economy. The White House postpones tariff rise on $250 billion worth of Chinese goods to October 15th, ahead of commercial talks. Still, Trump takes on China in his UN speech. The country has not made the promised reforms. The U.S. president then softens the tone. An agreement could arrive earlier than expected. Beijing responds, "We will not play the Game of Thrones on the world stage. We hope the U.S. will be consistent in its words and actions." The White House is considering limits to U.S. investors' portfolio flows into China, including delisting Chinese companies from the American stock exchanges.
China wants to make a deal. They have a lot of people that don't have jobs now because their supply chain is broken. And we'll see what happens.